This is LCD Soundsystem's Daft Punk is Playing at My House.
Daft Punk is playing at my house, my house.
And this is Girls, the breakout track from The Dare.
I like the girls that do drugs, girls with cigarettes in the back of the club.
If they sound suspiciously similar, you're not alone. The Dare, also known as Harrison Patrick Smith, has been compared to LCD Soundsystem more than any other act. The squelchy synths, the claps on the backbeat, the half-drunk James Murphy vocal impression. The comparisons aren't exactly subtle.
Oh, let's have some fun tonight. Oh, but all I know is all I know. But still, you want it. Oh, stop.
And it's not just the sound. Take a look at the album art. Look familiar? Critics call it derivative. All aesthetic, no innovation. Fans say it's a revival worth celebrating. That The Dare is bringing energy, irony, and sweaty dance floors back to a scene that got a little too cool for itself. But before we get into who The Dare is, we need to talk about where he's pulling from. Because this isn't just a sound, it's a whole attitude. The Dare isn't just lifting from LCD Soundsystem. He's pulling from a tangled web of early 2000s scenes, each one a loud, messy collision of punk energy, electronic gear, and a deep disinterest in being respectable. Electroclash was trashy, synth-driven, and theatrical.
Sucking on my titties like you wanted me, calling me all the time like Blondie. Check out my
New Rave mashed indie rock with EDM energy. Bloghouse turned MP3s into club culture. And dance punk married disco drums with post-punk anxiety. These weren't just genres, they were an attitude. Messy, ironic, and horny. Sincere and sarcastic at the same time. That's the energy The Dare is reviving. Not just the sound, but the feeling. The sleaze, the sweat, the thrill of not knowing where the night or the genre is going. And he's doing it on purpose. What might have started as nostalgia has become something more pointed. A remix of early 2000s chaos for a generation drowning in curated aesthetics. Before the horny anthems, Harrison Patrick Smith was making anxious indie rock in Portland, under the name Turtlenecked, a college-born project full of witty lyrics, jagged riffs, and almost zero commercial traction.
Oh! You smell so sweet, and you taste, well...
During lockdown, stuck inside and trying to make his friends laugh, Smith started recording sleazy, tongue-in-cheek dance tracks in his bedroom. One of them was Girls, an Electroclash throwback written in under an hour, partly in reaction to music he thought had become too smooth, too serious.
Girls who give it up for land, girls who so fucking kinky that they bang. I like the girls that do drugs.
He uploaded it in August of 2022, and TikTok took care of the rest. By day, he was a substitute teacher. By night, he was DJing parties on the Lower East Side in a thrifted blazer. Almost overnight, he became the face of a post-pandemic indie sleaze revival, whether he wanted to or not. In early 2023, his second single, Good Time, dropped, triggering a major label bidding war.
No money, you got no money, we got a good time.
By May, he'd signed to Republic Records and released the Sex EP, and by fall, he was opening for Yves Tumor on the West Coast. By then, he wasn't just the guy who made girls anymore. Within a year, he was co-producing Charlie XCX's Guess,
Send him to the day, yeah, I think he's with it.
getting pulled on stage at Boiler Room Ibiza, and dropping an official remix of a track featuring James Murphy.
Los Angeles just needs girls.
Suddenly, Smith wasn't just blog famous, he was everywhere. Profiled in GQ, crowned downtown's It Boy, and memeified as the guy trying to make New York depraved again, a title he seems pretty comfortable wearing. In June 2024, The Dare opened for Charlie on her Brat tour. By August, the Guess remix hit #1 in the UK. And in September, he dropped his debut album, What's Wrong with New York.
That's my perfume. It's $5.99. That's right.
What's Wrong with New York isn't trying to be a masterpiece. It's trying to be a moment. Depending on who you ask, it's either a brilliant party record or a total parody. It thrives when it's funny, filthy, and fearless, especially on tracks like Girls, Perfume, Open Up, and I Destroyed Disco. These tracks hit a sweet spot between nostalgic Electroclash energy and post-internet nihilism.
No, I don't care. What's a blogger to a rocker? What's a rocker to the dare?
Even the runtime, 10 tracks in 27 minutes, feels engineered for replays and short attention spans. But listen closely and the party starts to crack. A good time he casually drops, "We're all on the brink of suicide." A line that turns the club into a coping mechanism. The party isn't a solution, it's a distraction. Beneath the sleaze and satire is something a little more fragile, a need to feel anything when everything feels like too much. But not everyone's invited to this party. To some, it's too derivative, too shallow to even matter. It's loud, horny, and very online. And while that works if you're in the mood, it's bound to alienate anyone looking for subtlety or sincerity. It's just the soundtrack to a night you probably won't remember. Still, originality isn't really the point. Commitment is. And the Dare commits fully to the bit. Whether he's channeling LCD Soundsystem, early Calvin Harris, or a coke-fueled hot chip cosplay, there's no flinching. That tension between parody and precision, chaos and curation, is what makes the album click. The LCD comparisons sparked a minor internet war. Things got so intense, the moderators of the LCD subreddit banned all Dare-related posts, writing, "We fear if we don't step in, the subreddit will devolve into shitposting about the Dare." Die-hard fans weren't thrilled about a newcomer being hyped as the next LCD, and they weren't shy about saying so. But not all the buzz was backlash. Plenty of people actually prefer the Dare's simplicity and sleaze to LCD Soundsystem's very serious self-awareness. And let's not forget, LCD Soundsystem was itself a pastiche of earlier eras. So are the Rapture, the Strokes, every New York band that ever wanted to sound cooler than they felt. The Dare's not the first to borrow, and he certainly won't be the last. James Murphy once told David Bowie, "I steal from you liberally." Bowie replied, "You can't steal from a thief, darling." In that light, accusing the Dare of unoriginality kind of misses the point. He's not just copying, he's curating, and he's in on the joke. Love him or hate him, the noise has only amplified his reach. By polarizing audiences, the Dare's done what most new artists can't: become a conversation. The risk? That revival becomes the genre. Not a launch pad, but a loop. So is the Dare offering anything new, or just spinning the same old record? Talk of an indie sleaze revival is everywhere right now. But here's the thing, indie sleaze wasn't even a thing in the 2000s. No one called it that. Back then, it was Bloghouse, or dance punk, or Electroclash, or new rave. What you called it depended on which band you were talking about, or how drunk you were. The term didn't show up until around 2021, when TikTok trend forecasters, Instagram curators, and fashion magazines needed a name for this sudden return of chaotic, hypersexual, thriftcore chic. But what they were describing wasn't a genre. It was an aesthetic. American Apparel ads, Polaroid flash photography, smeared eyeliner, ripped tights, faux fur coats, and cigarette selfies. The music came second, and what started as a fashion revival got retrofitted into a Spotify playlist. What Gen Z is reviving isn't the scene, it's a memory of the scene, a mood handed down like a thrifted jacket, nostalgic but secondhand. Just like Stranger Things gave us an 80s that never quite existed, the new indie sleaze revival is more about escapism than accuracy. The 2000s version wasn't really a movement, it was a mood. A lawless, horny, low-effort blur that latched onto whatever felt dirty enough to dance to. It wasn't a genre, it was an energy. And that's the energy people are chasing now. And honestly, that's fine. Every generation reimagines the past to survive the present. If the world feels like it's falling apart, maybe messy, sweaty, disposable fun isn't just nostalgia, maybe it's a form of therapy. That's why the Dare makes so much sense right now. He's not reanimating the past the way James Murphy did, digging through crates and curating lost scenes into something painfully self-aware. The Dare is grabbing the surface level stuff, the cowbells, disco balls, the sleazy party vibe, and throwing them into a blender. Smith was old enough to witness the Bloghouse era, but too young to participate in it. He didn't live the scene. He simply inherited the look. His version isn't a memory, it's a remix. Even the mess feels curated. Irony and sleaze aren't rebellion anymore. They're branding, a carefully crafted image of chaos, because what's old enough to forget is old enough to go viral again. In that way, The Dare isn't a commentary on the past. He's a commentary on the now, a time when history becomes a mood board, scenes become slideshows, and culture moves too fast to grow its own roots. Revival has become the genre, nostalgia the aesthetic, and music, something you can absorb in 15 seconds or less.
New York, I love you, but you're bringing me down.
So no, The Dare isn't the second coming of LCD Soundsystem, he's not pushing dance punk forward, and he's not really trying to. He's picking up the scraps of a memory, the parties, the recklessness, the sleaze, and turning them into a soundtrack for a generation too tired to pretend they're above it. There's no shortage of energy, but maybe there's a shortage of evolution. When revival becomes the genre, nostalgia replaces vision. It's not a betrayal of dance punk spirit, it's just what happens when everything becomes content. Easy to post, easy to consume, and easy to discard. And yet, Smith doesn't see it that way. He's trying to make something more durable than it looks on the surface. That might sound like the opposite of what the music is doing, but that's exactly why The Dare resonates. He's not offering commentary or critique. He's offering escape. And in a world where everything feels like it's falling apart, politics, climate, the economy, the internet, escape might be the most honest thing there is. And maybe that's the real difference. LCD Soundsystem made music about knowing too much and feeling lost. The Dare makes music about knowing too much and dancing anyway. It's a strobe light, flashing at the end of the world. And if it sounds familiar, maybe that's the point. When the world moves too fast to build new scenes, revival might not be a retreat, it might be the only path we have left. Not the end of culture, just the afterparty. If the party's winding down and you're wondering what comes next, not just in music, but in life, it's worth thinking about the next 80,000 hours of your time. That's how long the average career lasts. 40 hours a week, 50 weeks a year, for 40 years. And today's sponsor, 80,000 Hours, is a nonprofit that helps people figure out how to use that time to do something meaningful. They've spent over a decade researching how to find a fulfilling, high-impact career, and spoiler, follow your passion or just get paid doesn't cut it. Their free evidence-based career guide is designed to help you figure out what actually matters and how to act on it. On their site, you'll find a step-by-step career planning course, research on the world's most pressing problems, a job board with roles that actually need you, and a podcast with conversations on how we fix what's broken, from AI to climate to mental health. They're a nonprofit, so everything they provide is free forever. They're just some people trying to build something better. So if you're tired of recycling culture and ready to make something new, check out 80,000hours.org/middle8, because the future doesn't remix itself. Thanks for watching, ladies and gents. If you enjoyed the video, give it a like rating. If you loved it, consider subscribing. And tell me, does The Dare sound too much like LCD Soundsystem? Let me know in the comments below. And keep listening to The Dare.